We on.
Are we?
Talk.
Wait, you can't do that to me.
That's how this works.
David, no. Does it?
Okay.
Okay, let me pull my notes.
We don't use notes.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Then that means that the information that we're about to talk about is not really coming from your heart.
It is, but I need like points where I'll get, you know how I am.
I just took some points away from you. So, thank y'all for tuning in to this organized mess that we got going on. We really want to talk to y'all about some stuff that's not typically talked about, I guess. It's kind of frowned upon. As she mentioned to me when she first texted me to bring this topic up, she said that this is considered taboo amongst who?
Like,
man, you making me feel short.
How?
Okay, keep going.
What?
Amongst who?
Amongst couples who are dating. Typically people seek counseling when they are at that period of their marriage where it's like on the brinks of falling apart, or if something big just happened where people want to go their separate ways. But you never hear about seeking therapy while dating, and not while dating and things are bad, like someone just cheated or things are just horrible, but seeking therapy as a proactive measure instead of a reactive measure.
Big words. So you see, therapy is the way that I see therapy now. I see it from a completely different angle than I used to when I was younger. When I was younger, I can't speak for you. I can only speak for myself. I thought therapy was used as just a crutch for people who were crazy, for lack of better terms. We all know crazy, that's not PC, but yeah, I just assumed, or from what I knew, therapy was just for people who needed some type of help because they didn't have it all the way together upstairs. However, now after I've experienced so many different things in my life that have led to, I've suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder before, I've suffered from anxiety, all the big ones. I've had a couple of mental health issues. I'm not even ashamed to say it anymore. But I see therapy from a different light now than I did when I was younger. And what I mean by that is, if you think about going to see a primary care doctor, a lot of those, at least from an insurance's perspective, they could either be labeled preventative visits, or what would the opposite of a preventative visit be? And when you go to the doctor and you're sick and shit, like the difference between those two.
As a reactive measure.
Whatever.
Like, you discover you got this really bad cold, and after a while it just gets persistent, and then you decide to go when it's more likely to.
Right. But in theory, when they introduced the idea of preventative doctor visits, it was to ensure that you catch whatever could possibly go wrong with you before it actually happens, right, so that it can be nipped, so that it doesn't spiral out of control. So we're actually taking the same approach when it comes to our romantic relationship. And like she said earlier, it's not necessarily that anything is wrong with us now. We fuss at each other like any other couple do. She get on my damn nerves. I know I get on her nerves, especially the other night. She kicked me out the room, but I made her get out the room actually and sleep on the couch.
That's not how it went down. If we're gonna get technical, that's for another video, but that's not how it went down.
Anywho, yeah, so we're gonna talk about how we came to the decision to seek couples therapy, and it ain't even shit wrong with it. So I'm gonna let you kick it off on how this even started, since you got your notes.
Oh yeah, I did got notes, guys. Okay. So I was thinking that we could go into our backstory. So before there was a Joshua and Ackeeva, there was other people in our lives. There was I guess we both come from the same background. We're both divorced.
You shouldn't say her name.
Don't say my name. But we're both divorced. I got married when I was 19 years old, and I was married to my son's father, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out. And while I was in that process, I always felt like the victim, like he was doing things to me. And like after we went our separate ways, I still realized like he wasn't the total blame of our problems, and I had to do a lot of reflecting. And I never once, we thought about counseling, but I never once was into it. Like I was just like, yeah, we're done here. So but because I reflected a lot and learned about myself, I knew how I could be beneficial to the next person that came along. And I also knew that the next person that came along wasn't necessarily going to be perfect. So I was always open to the idea of therapy if it was needed, if I met the person that I was in love with and I couldn't part ways with them, if he did something stupid.
And I too come from a background of divorce. I was married to my son's mom, and that shit ain't work. I ain't about to go into all the detail that she just went into about her marriage. For one, hers lasted a lot longer than mine did. I was married probably for like a year and a half or something like that. And when I look back on it, that shit was doomed from the start. And it's for a lot of reasons, which is another reason why us seeking couples therapy now, when there isn't anything wrong, it's almost seemed more of like an investment to get a bigger ROI down the line, which is hopefully the possibility of not having to seek therapy or counseling for any type of crisis situation, because one, we've already been equipped with the necessary perspective to like identify red flags or warning signs when something might be going on in our relationship and be able to prevent it from escalating to a point where we do need to seek some type of professional help to intervene on the direction that our relationship is going. For two, it's very important, especially when two people are coming from two separate experiences, to learn how to still, what's the best way to word this? Like, you're bringing two individuals together, and this is, in my perspective, I don't believe in the whole like two halves coming together to equal one, because in my opinion, then that means that you weren't strong enough prior to the relationship, strong enough within yourself to even go out there and give yourself to someone. So what I see are two wholes coming together to make one stronger whole. I don't see that half and half thing. But coming from two different lifestyles, two different people who were independent prior to coming together, that brings two sets of values, two sets of, I did it this way, she did it that way, or trying to figure out the best way that both of us can find that middle ground and without sacrificing our personal identities, and we don't want to absorb ourselves too much into each other to the point where like she dissolves into me and forgets who she is, and I do the same thing, because then at the end of the day, I mean, it creates resentment, but then, I mean, it's easy to forget why you fell in love in the first place, because all I'm doing is looking at me if I look at you, and you looking at me when you look at me. And I mean, that's, if I wanted to fall in love with myself, I'd stay with myself. You know what I'm saying? So what's next in your notes?
Really?
Yep.
You would have stayed with yourself.
if I wanted to just look at myself all the time, what could you have done differently?
In our past relationships?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, these are my notes, right?
That's already notes.
Well, I was a big shit talker, so I just thought I was bad, and I am bad. But I've now since discovered that as a woman, it's okay to like let a man lead you, and that doesn't necessarily mean like you have to like become this 1950s women, but just to kind of like let him do his own thing. And even sometimes I let him do his own thing and I let him lead me, but sometimes I be wanting to like step in and be like, but we could do it, and then I just take a step back. And just let him think he's doing something. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Let him lead. Like, let him lead the show. Because that's the biggest way.
Speaking of leading the show.
that's how you're like the biggest support for a man. So that's my main thing. I wish I could have done different. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job now, but I'm not.
Yeah.
No, okay.
You doing a great job.
See, he said I'm all right. So that means that maybe I do need a little.
Always room for improvement.
Exactly. So I think therapy is not a bad thing. And I never thought therapy was bad. Like, Jack had negative connotations with therapy just simply because I am like, my profession, I know that there's things people go through, and if you go through things, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're like, something's wrong with you. You're human. Everybody goes through things, so.
Word. I think the biggest thing that I would have done different was not succumbing to the pressure of feeling like I did have to lose my identity as a condition of being with somebody else. When I, got into my last relationship, which was with my son's mom, prior to that, like I was doing things that, like, I was living a very fulfilled life. That was at the height of my DJ career. I was still in college, and I just had this very vibrant personality. I was a lot more outgoing than I am now, and I just was full of life. And at the time, when that relationship started, I felt like I had to make a choice between the things that I was passionate about and dedicating my time to a relationship. And my dumb ass gave up myself as a trade-in for like being this idealistic vision of what like a good boyfriend is supposed to be, which eventually turned into me trying to be this Huxtable ass husband and dad. And I mean, that just wasn't me. That's not saying that like I don't have what it takes to be like the good husband for her in the future, but I'm not gonna do it like I did last time and completely sacrifice my personal identity just for the sake of feeling like I can't do both. And that was a huge mistake that I made. That was a crucial turning point to where I feel like, my contribution to being a good partner, a good mate, actually started going down. Because I resented her because in the back of my mind, I was thinking like, damn, I gave all this shit up for you, and now I ain't even happy. But at the end of the day, all I could blame is myself because I'm the one who made that decision to sacrifice what meant the most to me and the things that would have made me continue to be true to myself. And at the time, I didn't have I guess you could say self-esteem. I didn't have the self-esteem to tell somebody like, yo, if you don't like what I'm doing, then fuck you, basically. I ain't doing that no more.
Yeah, you better not.
Anything else on your little cheat sheet, or we gonna leave a cliffhanger for next time?
A cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to gain out of therapy? Like, what specifics do you want to gain out of therapy?
The biggest thing is being able to, like I said earlier, identify when those warning signs start to, protrude their ugly faces, and both of us are on the same page when it comes to doing something about it. Oftentimes you hear in relationships, like, what was it, Teddy Pendergrass song, he was talking about a 50-50 love, and in one of the lines I think he said not 60-40 or not any other distribution that would make it 100%, but each side not giving an equal amount. But you hear about that in relationships too many times, where one person cares about the positive direction of the relationship more than the other, and that person who does care about it more might be the person who was invested in identifying those red flags, and when those red flags appear, actually taking the initiative to say, hey, I noticed that this is going on and we need to do something about it, and the other person is like, yeah, whatever the fuck. But I think that by both of us going into this couples counseling together, and we both obviously care about the direction of the relationship equally, then that means that we can hold each other accountable to whenever something like that does occur, that we can be each other's accountability partners and say, hey, remember, that's why we're doing this whole thing in the first place. So this is happening. You make sure that you get on your shit, I make sure I get on my shit, and then from there we can solve our problems. Probably waste a lot less time than had we not done this together, and a big chunk of the time would have been contributed to arguing. A big chunk of the time would have contributed to actually figuring out what the problem is. A big chunk of time would be contributed to actually solving the problem, and then a big chunk of the time would be contributed to getting over it once the problem was solved. Whereas if we're doing this together, then that knocks out a significant portion of that time, and we can just keep it moving because we got shit to do. We got kings to raise, we got money to make, we got people to keep. Never mind.
I was trying to figure out where you were going with that.
I was going to talk about all the people who thought we broke up.
Hey, you. But yeah, what Josh said. You want to leave him with something?
Yeah. Look out for her YouTube channel. Let me finish. See. Also talking about her fitness stuff, and also talking about different topics related to her passion and profession as a nurse.
So this is what support looks like, ladies. But I never mentioned that I was gonna be doing all of that. You just trying to put me on the spot, so you trying to hold me accountable through this video, huh?
Yeah, the people know now. So you gotta show up.
I'm probably not gonna do makeup tutorials because I don't like.
Her makeup gonna be popping on the videos though, and she gonna do it. Them eyebrows be fleeky. They still say that? Alright, anyway.
I never liked that.
And the Futuristic YouTube channel, that is still in existence. That's actually what my brother and I started about 2 years ago, which really introduced me to this whole YouTube universe in the first place. It's kind of on a hiatus right now because little bro had a baby girl over the summer, and he's the man behind the camera. Like, he handles all the magic that happens with editing and all that shit that I don't have the patience to learn how to do. So that couldn't have happened without him, and because he's getting into his groove as a new dad, we're just waiting for him to get back comfortable with that. And then finally, I started a blog at the beginning of 2017. It's called The Blood of Karma. And that's pretty much my own personal journey in life. I mean, I talk about a vast, you be spilling all the tea. A lot of different topics. And I really put myself out there. I think that's what makes it special. Is I'm like super transparent about a lot of the shit that's happened. And when I say transparent, I'm not necessarily saying like I go into a lot of detailed information about specific events, but I say transparent as to describe like how honest and open and reflective I am in the roles that I've played for a lot of the shit that's happened in my life, for better or for worse. So check that out. It's called The Blood of Karma. Just go to thebloodofkarma, all one word.com. Subscribe to that shit. Subscribe to this. Yeah.
What is this gonna be called?
Alright, so next time, until next time, we will check y'all out. Make sure y'all keep track of y'all mental health. It's important. I ain't gonna let her talk about it because she'll go off into the tangent because that's her thing. And yeah, just keep loving on each other. Till next time.
Bye guys.
Peace out.